So we start with some breathing. Just feel the dantian, the belly, this round shape. And it's like we're massaging it. Beginning to turn with it. Arching the back, pulling in the belly. Reaching. Try and stretch as much as possible so that the return is initiated by the spring back of that stretching tendon, muscle, ligament, whatever. Up and down, letting the spine really bend to the side, not just tilt, but bend. Back to prayer. And now just up and out. One hand over, turning the head. Bringing the hands closer in and figure of eighting. And now one hand behind, other hand on the opposite knee, and pulling yourself round. Just breathe into it. So each time you breathe out, you can get around a tiny bit more. And the other side. The other side again. And the other side again. And now let's just finish these with the sphincters. Pulling in the belly, really tightening in. And then pushing everything out. Pulling in, closing the eyes, the fists, and opening. Good. So we want to get into turning from the action of the leg. So it's my leg pulling me towards it, bending and contracting. So I get pulled here and then I get pulled here. So it's each leg is tightening. First it has to stretch and then it can contract. It's important that the turning comes from the root rather than simply your waist region, or the turning connects you to your root. So my turn catches this foot here, and then the energy can travel up the leg and into the opposite hand. This is the idea. So I'm yielding with the hand. So you think of pulling the other person in. I reach for them, I pull them in, and then I would hit them with the other hand. I have to do the same with the foot. The foot has to pull at the ground. And I want that pull to make a turn, not just make a movement into the leg, but make a turn into the leg. I'm turning. I'm turning. And the hand that swings behind, let it become a fist and strike the sacrum, or the Ming Men just above the sacrum. The hand that comes in front, that's the one that's reaching for the person's arm. Pull them in. So that's open, facing out. So the hand that reaches out, it's as though you're leading with your little finger. So it'll turn the hand out like this. So it's not like this. This would be turning the other way. So I'm turning away from the hand, reaching with my little finger. And it's as though my little finger starts the grip, starts the wrapping around to pull in. And it's the same with the foot. It's as though my little toe it's the smallest toe, but it feels like it wants to be really big and really reach out. And then it's the little toe starting to catch that gets all the others to join in. It's what you'd expect, really. The digit, the finger or the toe that is smallest has the most spirit, has the most real activity. Bring it to a riding horse. Feeling this mouth opening from the back and the hand or the foot or the eye coming in. So I'm opening and then embracing. It's all hugging. So imagine you hug someone. They're a bit smaller than you. And then you realize they're actually hugging someone. And then they're hugging someone. They're hugging someone. Eventually you get to the little person who's just the Dan Chen. So he's hugging his belly. And so you've got all of these hugs. And then you'll realize you're being hugged as well by something bigger than you. It's just one endless nested series of hugs. And that's the reality, really. It's a bit like the onion. So you've got the danchen here, which is the center. You've got all these spherical layers around it until it gets to you and then beyond. And then we just have to connect to the gravity and the levity. So this is where we roll the knees out so that the sacrum is pulled down and brought forwards a little bit. And then this can just release upwards. We want to feel the levity. So gravity, we call it gravity. So gravity is like a force of nature. It's the pull, force of attraction between massive bodies. So the Earth has a gravitational field down towards its center, and that catches my mass. It catches my center of gravity and pulls that down. But you can also think of it as being like part of you. Unless I properly relax and connect with it, the gravity won't work in the way that we want. It won't generate energy. It'll simply be an ignorant force that's pulling my body towards the earth. I want to feel it through my awareness, my acceptance, if you like. So I'm becoming aware and I'm letting it happen. I'm not resisting. And then I can feel this as this constant elastic pull, which manifests within my body as energy. Now, the levity is exactly the same thing, but from above. It's not just my own cheerfulness that's sort of wanting to come up and spill out into the world. It's actually a draw from above. But it doesn't draw the body, it draws the spirit. It's calling me. It's like the call to prayer. Something is calling you to lift your spirits, become a little bit more cheerful, more compassionate, more awake. And we want to feel that. So unless you get this, unless you get the real pull down here, then this can't really operate. So you need the heavy before you can get the light. We work on the heavy in order to get the light. We don't work on the heavy just to become heavy. This is just pulling down constantly, constantly, constantly. And then, oh, you realize there's something here. But it's difficult to catch because it's working on your feelings rather than your body. And they're always just a little bit more nebulous and mysterious. The force of your body, that can be measured with instruments. Yeah, this can't. Maybe one day. Okay, now let's just try the circuit. So let's first just feeding on the ground, so letting the knees open to open this area so that you can go down and bring the ground up. So I'm sort of opening the mouth of my legs so that I can swallow a big lump of the ground. Opening. And I want to feel the spirit, or it's almost like I have to sort of work myself up into the right courage to really be able to open. It's like, when you see sprinters psyching themselves up before the race, they're really shouting at themselves and slapping themselves to just get them into the right state where their spirit can just fly out and take their body with it. It's similar here. Something in me just gets almost angry in its determination to get down to the ground through opening. I'm not simply bending my legs, I'm opening. So it's difficult. There's a real sense that something can come up into that hole. And now just the same thing But with the arms, it's very similar to just reaching and pulling in the rope, but I'm really going around, making two circles rather than just going forwards and back. Feeling it's coming from the spine across the shoulder blade, down the arm, and then circling back in to this soft part here or here with the leg. So by opening the shoulder blades from the back and opening the hips from the sacrum, we're effectively trying to become just a little bit bigger. So it's as though we're trying to connect to that imaginary person that's hugging me, that slightly bigger person than me that's got me in an embrace. So this is the body that we're trying to cultivate. It's the body of what John would call the guardian, the angel behind you that's got you in an embrace. So a sense that this arm is pulled out by a bigger arm that's slightly in front of it. Imagine you're one of those knights of old wearing this big heavy suit of armor. So they're actually bigger than they really are. And then back to riding horse again. Feeling these two aspects, that attending to the local, first of all, something in you has to go out to catch something, and then something has to really open so that you can bring that thing into your body, hug it or eat it. And then we need the knees rolling out to bring this down, to connect with the vertical, which then enables us to see all the way to the horizon. So instead of the eyes focusing in on what it is that's happening here, I want this sense of just reaching out with the eyes. So I have to be able to switch between those two really quickly, because effectively when we're yielding, we're attending to the local, the immediate, and when we attack, we're sending our energy to infinity. Going backwards and forwards. So this exercise, but again with that feeling of catching the ground. I want to really feel like I'm catching at the ground, like you're yanking something with your hand. You're yanking at the ground with your foot, but it's not, because if I yank with my hand, imagine me yanking with my hand. Now I just use the muscles in the arm to do this. But if I want to do it more intelligently, then I can yank with the waist. I can pull here, move the hip back, and that will yank with the hand as well. It's the same here. So I want to feel that I'm catching the ground from this turn. So I turn and that starts me pulling forwards. I turn and that starts me moving back. Turn. It's sudden. There's a sudden catch. So it's difficult, this, because it tends to make you tense. So we get it and then we just continue doing it and just try and relax into it. The other foot, it's difficult, this, because we want to make sure that that catch is only in the legs so that the arm, the energy comes up into the arm, but they don't feel it as being manipulated by your hand because it's coming from your lower body. Catch here. Really get a sense that you're dealing with someone that's here. There's someone that's in front of you, but really quite close. So the reason we turn, not in order to manipulate them really, but just to stay in range because they're coming in. Imagine someone coming in and I just have to turn to stay with them. Otherwise they'll just fall into me. So we've got this sense here that we're dealing with something here, but a real sense also at the back of the mind that there's something dealing with you around the back. So this is really important. And we want them to sort of be the same in a way. The more I focus here, the more a different part of my mind wakes up all around here. Like those, those images, those paintings of like the wise men and the shepherds looking into the cradle, into the manger, and there's Jesus. And in a lot of those pictures, he was a light source. And so the whole scene was illuminated by the light that was shining from the baby. You could see the sort of faces of the people, but there was a real sense that the whole scene was enveloped in darkness. That's the feeling. So this is the known. This is what you can see and what you're dealing with, but the unknown is much bigger. And we want to get a sense of that as well. So we're not only interested in what we see, because we're interested in connecting to the unknown, venturing into it if we can. So it's the turn. It's the turn. Okay, so let's just try a little bit of this one there. Feeling the turning. The turning is being generated quite differently now, so it'll feel different. There's a qualitative difference between the turning we've just been doing and this turning. It's aiming to get real looseness in these hip joints. If you can get looseness here, then the looseness in the sacroiliacs will come. And then just picking a foot off the ground. So first we've got to put the foot down in the right way so that we can sink into it properly. So I go around the foot. This outside edge slides down here so that this foot can come up. Once I'm there, I'm just trying to just relax across here. Pull myself into the foot and I slip around it. There's that feeling again of this cradling something here, but also being cradled by the energy behind you. That's just as much part of you as this is. Let's bring it back. And feeling the ward off. This feeling of spreading from the back down the limb. The more it opens up in the back point, the more the feet and the hands will want to move towards each other. That's the roundness. It's the circle. And then just this feeling here, these knees rolling out, and this becoming dominant, this coming forward slightly and really dropping down. And then this is being lifted upwards. So you can feel it in the thymus, feeling the top of the head. Remember, it's all those places where the strings of the puppet attach. Head, hands, knees. It's my knees trying to escape effectively. So they're trying to roll out, trying to go forwards, and also they're trying to come up. Imagine if you had to really run, then your knees would have to really come away from the ground to throw your foot out. And then just bringing the feet up, big toes pretty much touching, heels out. Still with this feeling that the knees can go out, but equally they can come round. Remember my grandfather telling me that he'd only been to London once. This was probably before the war. He said he was just walking down the road and this beautiful woman was walking towards him with this long fur coat on. And as she came up to him, she just opened it and she was naked underneath. Of course, she was a prostitute, but this was like the highlight of his life. This experience, he always used to tell me about it every time. But it's like that. It's like essentially we're naked, but we're shrouded. We're clothed in these layers of energy. But at any moment, you can just open them up and reveal yourself.